That was, yes, okay, cool. I got some good stories though.
Right.
That I want you to retell. We talked about some really cool shit. Like, I remember when we first met, dude, it was like, boop, we just like popped off.
Dude, I know, yeah.
Like, started talking about music and like concepts and shit. And you're like, yeah, I just moved back from California. I was acting and shit out there. And I'm like, dude, we make movies. It's just a cool. Now we're doing it. I'm gonna do a little countdown.
All right.
And 3, 2. You talking to me, I'm talking to you. And this is talking to me, talking to you. And I got Spencer Anthony of Alíco. Dude, thank you for coming out and doing this, man.
Thank you so much for having me. This is rad. This is super rad.
Dude, yeah.
We've talked about it for a while, too,
Yeah,
right?
yeah, we have. Well, I think you're super rad. Like, dude,
Thanks, bro.
You're very, like, unique individual. You were out in California for a little while, right?
Yeah.
So, like, what all did you end up doing? Because you told me a few different things about, like, what you're doing. But obviously, you play music.
Yes.
But you also mentioned you did some acting and stuff. So, just to get a little backstory on you some more, what all did you do while you were out there?
Yeah, so I moved out to Los Angeles when I was 16.
Okay.
Oh,
so you was out there for a while.
Yeah, I was out there for about 5 years.
Okay, yeah.
I want to say. Yeah. Just over 4.5. But it's funny actually, when I was driving on the way up here, I remembered there was like this field trip on down 32, which is if the audience doesn't know, that's the road we're kind of all based off of,
the long highway.
Highway that runs through this part of Ohio. And I remember being at like my last day of school, my sophomore year of high school, was a field trip. And I remember I had this like little gut feeling of like, I don't think I'm coming back.
Okay.
And it was like that was literally like my last. It was a field trip.
Moment.
That was the last day of school, and then I was done. Like, it was public. Like I'd finished. I'd gone 6 months at a school called Glen Estee, and which is now torn down. It's now gone.
Oh yeah.
And but yeah, it was. I remember being there and just like walking outside and having this like gut feeling, staring out at 32, being like, yeah, I think life's gonna change from here. Because basically what happened was I had an agent, and he was like, hey, let's go to this talent expo and you can sing your songs.
Agent for like what all for your music? Or just in general?
Honestly, like it started as like a modeling thing.
Okay.
But I was too
You're a handsome man, so yeah, I can see that.
Thanks, man. Thanks, man. I appreciate that.
I came here with a fedora thinking you're not gonna get complimented.
Well, yeah, but I mean, I can't rock the curly hair. So.
No, I try, dude.
My mom's hair is super curly, but my dad had that fine hair, and it just.
It looks good. You look good.
Thanks, man. Thanks, dog.
That's cool though. So it started with a modeling kind of gig.
Yeah. Well, I was all about sports actually. Yeah. And then
okay.
I kind of defined myself by my extracurriculars because I didn't like school.
Yeah.
So
I feel that.
Right. So I like the reason in my head in high school that I justified going to school was to play basketball, and then when that wasn't there anymore, I decided not to try out my sophomore year of high school, and basically I was like, well, I got to do something now. I can't just go to school. Like, that would be horrible.
Yeah.
So I started a band, and then I was like, you know what? My mom was a fitness model. She was and my dad was like this insane. They were both basically like fitness models.
Yeah.
And so I was like, well, I want to do that. You know, I was a fat kid and I had lost a bunch of weight, and I was like, let's try that.
Yeah.
And I did that, but my mom kind of convinced me to do some other shots when we were with the photographer that were like regular, you know, your typical like modeling shots. Mm-hmm. We sent them to an agency.
They liked them.
Yeah, they liked it. They liked them, and I was actually kind of shocked. I was like, wow.
Yeah. Okay. Well, you were like 16?
Yeah, I was actually at the time that I signed. I was 15.
15 at the time.
I was just almost 16.
Okay.
Yeah. Yeah.
So the modeling agency kind of took you to California?
Yeah. So it's basically we went to this thing, and shout out to my wonderful agent Jake Lang. You're the best, man. He basically told me like I signed there, and he goes, we go to this. I signed there in like January, I want to say, and then he said in June or November we go to this thing called Expo, and it's where you get to be in front of a ton of agents and managers. And I was not about LA. I loved Cincinnati. I was like, I don't want to move, you know.
Yeah. This place has that, or like it's like it's like you want to leave but you don't want to leave.
Exactly. Like I love home. Like I'm very proud of growing up here.
Same.
And it's a great place.
It is. It's a lot. There's a lot of good people.
Oh,
a
yeah.
lot of good art. It's like very hidden under the blanket. That's what I don't like about it. It's very hidden under the blanket that there's a lot of good art here, and like it's not really spoke about.
Isn't it crazy?
It's crazy. Well, I think that problem is that there's so many pockets of art in this city. There's no there's not like one main thing showcasing it all. You know what I mean?
Right.
Yeah.
Right. There's nothing central about it. Like when I was growing up playing in bands, like, around the same time I started my first band, and throughout it was funny because parallel with. I had like 3 things running parallel at the same time during this when I turned 16. Obviously I was going to school, and I'd recently transferred from private. I went to a private Catholic high school, transferred to public.
Okay.
So it was, and that
That's
was
a
kind
big
of
change. Yeah.
it was a big change, but it was more so.
We're delinquents in public school, bro.
Dude, they asked me the first day I got there. The first thing the teacher asked me, this guy's name was Mr. Grippa. He's a great guy.
Grippos?
Like like Grippa.
Oh,
like,
Grippa. Okay, I was like,
not Grippo's potato chips. That would be awesome.
Welcome to Cincinnati.
Right, exactly. Yeah, shout out Grippo's. Sponsor us.
Please.
Sponsor talking to you.
That's a dream.
Yeah. Hey, today our sponsor is Grippo's.
I just start eating them. Crunch them in the mic.
Like a bag
just dude, they're everywhere. I just had on the last podcast a big old, actually a big setup of food because we were
a cornucopia of options.
Yeah. My landlord / roommate Ben, he cooks, and
dude,
he's dope. We talk about his tacos a lot, and he kind of like showcased his tacos.
Dude,
and I ate them. I'm like, of course they're great.
Right.
Of course they're great.
That's awesome.
Yeah, it's cool. But what were you saying that he said something to you, the teacher?
Yeah. So he said the first day that I came into the public high school, and you go from spending your entire life, wearing, button-up shirts, strict uniform, like if
white
your shirts,
tee,
if your
with
shirts
plaid,
white, white tee, it's not tan, but
beige,
khakis.
Yeah.
Wearing khakis my entire life. And then I walk in and it's like everyone's wearing hoodies and like I was like, man.
Mm-hmm.
And the first thing that the teacher asked me, he's a hilarious, like very dry humor guy. He goes, "So how'd you get kicked out?" Like the first moment I walk in, and
that's hilarious.
And I was just like,
what did you do? Please tell me.
I said, I was like, oh no, I didn't get kicked out. I just didn't like it.
Did you see? He looked at you like, oh.
He was like, oh, that's no fun.
Yeah.
And then get this. This is the best part of the story. Even better than that, believe it or not. He goes, you came on an interesting day, and then some kid flings a dead cat out of a bag onto the table.
Dissecting cat?
The first day of dissecting cats was the first period of my first day of public school. Oh my
God.
Talk about a shell shock, dude.
Fucking public schools, man.
Dude, right? I know.
No, but back to you go
circling back.
You ended up going out to California though. You had
Right.
the agency. You said you'd start dabbling in music. So
Right.
where did all this kind of start correlating together? Because it did. Like I've seen the videos and stuff.
Mm-hmm.
All this stuff like matched together at some point. Now you're
did.
this model / actor / artist,
Thanks.
music artist, all in one.
Right.
It's really cool.
Thanks. Yeah. So going back to that 6 months,
Yeah.
like that from like 2015, from January to June of 2015 were probably like some of the biggest, most transformative months of my life, because in that time I was gigging with a band that I just started. I was, auditioning for like different modeling agencies with this agency, and then he was like, "You got to act."
Yeah.
And I was like, I don't want to act. I just want to model and make some money.
That's not how it works.
Right. No, exactly. That's how I thought it worked.
Yeah.
And so it was like my mom comes to my dad one night and she goes, I signed him up to audition for a play. And she goes, I signed you up to audition for a play. And I was like, oh, no, not doing
Not
it.
a play.
Sorry. And she's like, just audition. You don't have to do it. And I was like, fine. I went and auditioned.
They liked you.
And she already paid for it. So she'd sign me up. She's like, Jake said you want to be an actor. You have to be an actor. I was like, well, you know what? I'll do this.
Yeah.
Okay. It ended up being like the best thing ever.
That's
that's one thing you're so grateful for your,
when you don't want to do something.
When you don't want to do something, you do it, and then it's like
you like it.
I was very lucky to have that that kind of push, because I was not very big on getting out of my comfort zone.
Mm-hmm.
You know?
Yeah.
Like I was highly motivated when I was, but when I wasn't, I was like, I'm just gonna sit here.
Yeah, I feel that, man.
You know?
I really do feel that.
Yeah.
Like very, very much. Just with this thing, you know. I mean,
Yeah.
like reaching out to people, you know,
Right.
you got to
Right.
do it. You know?
Right, exactly.
You know, even if you have no idea who they like really are, like you just see them, you got, hey man, would you mind to come out and talk to me, even though you have no idea who I am?
Right.
But I love that though, because it makes you like, it gives you that boop, 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 boop. You're like, oh,
that rush.
I'm speaking to strangers.
Right. Yeah.
You know?
Exactly.
And performing in front of strangers too.
Yeah.
You know.
Yeah. Performing in front of strangers.
So the theater though, that led into teaching you kind of like to perform.
Right.
Yeah.
That was the first I'd ever sang, really. I mean, besides being in the band,
it's a play,
like
so.
my first gig, I think my first gig with that band was in January. That was the first time I sang. And, you know, I was really just kind of like yelling on pitch. I mean, that was kind of like I was just still very new and learning.
Yeah.
But really, the theater is what taught me to kind of sing and
correctly.
Yeah,
like,
more.
You're by yourself. You're singing you're not singing the music, which you can pitch correct to the sound of the music.
Right. You by
yourself.
In you know, in the musical, it was, you know, there was acting. Like I was very lucky because my role was super comedic, and so from January to April, like the first week of April was when the play or when the musical premiered. It was Into the Woods.
Yeah.
Which is you know, I guess I'm biased, but it's one of my favorite musicals.
Into the Woods.
For sure. Yeah. They made a movie
they did?
based on it too. Yeah, it has like James Corden, Chris Pine, Anna Kendrick, Elizabeth.
Okay. I might watch that. Yeah. Into the Woods.
Yeah. I can't believe I'm forgetting her. Emily Blunt.
Okay. I actually don't recognize
Meryl Streep.
But okay, yeah.
Meryl
okay,
Streep is
yeah.
in it.
She's yeah.
And a few other pretty solid actors. But yeah, and I actually met James Corden. You know the Late Show with James Corden?
Yeah. They got
He was the starring role in the movie Into the Woods.
Okay.
And I actually met him.
Really?
When in LA, yeah.
That's
and I
very
told him
cool.
I was in Into the Woods in the musical, and he was like, that's a crazy story. Might as well get into that
Do
one.
it,
Dude. So we would in Los Angeles, you know, my mom lived there with me for the first like 3 years that I was there, from when I was like 16 to like 19, and so we would go to different tapings of different talk shows. It was free. You just had to sign up online.
Oh, seriously?
Yeah, it's free. Yeah, it's all
That's
free.
fucking awesome.
But you're kind of working for them. You know, like you're kind of
the audience,
right? You're the audience, so you have to get warmed up, you have to clap, you have to do all these different things. Exactly.
There's prompters, yeah.
Right, and so you could tell that you're.
People don't understand how fake like shit actually really is. Like it's
Right.
not as genuine as most people believe. Like that's the big thing I try to do here is like try to be more because it's still fucking a setup. I mean, hello,
Exactly.
I got fucking shit to talk about.
Exactly.
Yeah.
But it's there's
It's
a lot.
fun process though.
Right, there's a formula to late night TV, you know, and so anyway, there was this point where James Corden asked the audience, and this wasn't fake. This was all he picked people. Like he
That's
actually
what's
picked
cool
people.
about it too.
Yeah. I loved him. He's amazing. Him and Conan.
Mm-hmm. Conan's good.
Yeah, Conan. Yeah, and James is awesome. So, but he's like, you know, this is called the emoji game. Like, everybody raise your hands. You know, who's gonna guess the emojis? And then you know of course, like my mom went like, and I was like, and he went you, and I went.
Me?
A movie moment. I was like, yeah. He came over, and you know, it was this. I had to guess the story, the news headline out of emojis, and I epically failed. But then he had to retape at the end of the show. They had to retape a segment. So you know, they missed like a close up or something during that part of the show, so he had to come back up and act like he was.
No way.
Right. So
they did that for really.
Right.
They did a reshoot.
Mm-hmm. Not a reshoot of it entirely, just a shot of James.
Just getting a close up shot.
Yeah, exactly. But so he comes back up and he starts, you know, messing around, like, cause he's working the crowd now because they're not filming, and so he's like, you know, he's
a comedian.
Yeah, he's a comedian, so he's, you know, kind of joking with us, and then, you know, as he walked back and he was really nice, he like shook my hand, and I told him like, hey, I was in Into the Woods, and he went. I thought that was a cool moment
That
because
would've
I'm
been
a
a-
huge James Corden fan. I
Yeah.
love his show.
That would have been a good moment to catch on camera too. Like you like.
I
was
know,
in the-
right?
Oh, that's awesome. This guy, you come on the stage.
I
You know,
think
that's one of those moments.
I have the video of me actually like on the show.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I would love to see that. That'd be
Yeah, I'll
awesome.
send it to you. Yeah, for sure, man. Yeah.
Dudes, but you know, I mean, it's a long story, man, of like your travels,
Very.
and
Yeah.
you've experienced a lot of things, man. I think that's what kind of, like you said, all these things have created this like really cool person and artist that you are.
Thank you.
And so I want to get back to your music
Right.
specifically. So you're in a band, Alíco.
Yes.
It's you and a good friend of yours. How long you guys been playing? His name is Joe. What's it? How you spell?
Joe Nasser.
Nasser.
Yeah, so
That's how
just
you pronounce
Nasser.
his
Yeah,
last
yeah.
name. Yeah.
Yeah, so Joe and I met in 2017.
Okay.
So
in California.
No, we met here.
Oh, here.
Because
in
I
Ohio?
was a little bit back and forth for a few
Okay.
years. So
You're
I
going
would
back.
be,
Mhm.
in LA back here, and because I didn't really know anyone in Los Angeles, nor did I have my gear, so I wasn't playing shows
Okay. Yeah.
in LA.
You were just acting.
I was just
and
there. I was
modeling.
mainly acting. I was
Yeah.
mainly auditioning. I was in acting class. That was mainly what I was doing when I was out there.
Mhm.
I also did a record. I did 2 records when I lived there, in studios out there. And then our Alíco 3 Alíco songs that are slowly coming out. We took a trip to LA in March and did those. So
Yeah, because you just released your first like
Yes,
debut
exactly.
single
Yeah,
on
Monica.
Spotify. Monica.
Mhm.
Yeah.
Yep. Yeah. So
Because you
Monica's
have
on
other
Spotify.
music out.
Yes, so I have
around-
Under Spencer Anthony. There's about 8 songs I think
Yeah.
that I put out. So yeah, but so mainly when I was out there, it was more like I'm gonna put my head down and learn and soak it in and
That's good,
audition.
man. Yeah.
Because I was like, well,
You took it in.
yeah, taking it like learn how to act, learn how to audition because it's a very very intimidating, competitive thing. But
Yeah.
it's
soul searching, dude. It really is.
yeah, it really is.
You're trying
Like,
to find somebody else
Yeah.
in you, and you got to create
crazy.
these false narratives and yeah.
Yes.
I found like just in this movie we're working on, dude. I
Mhm.
found myself like finding the character during shooting. You know what I'm
Right.
saying? And it's like it's weird until you nail it, and someone looks at you and goes, "Oh, dude, that's it.
Right.
Do that," and then you try to recreate it
Right.
5 times in a row.
Trying to recreate it is an interesting thing.
Yeah, it is.
Right.
It's fun.
Yeah.
But no, I like your music, man. It's
Thanks, man.
you described it before as pop rock, emphasizing on pop.
Right. That's pretty much how I would describe it to.
And but you have a very like dynamic range of like sounds. So
Thanks.
You the songs that I've heard, it starts off like with like acoustic,
Mhm.
and then it leads into more like a
Right.
like super poppy upbeat, the new age pop sound, and then it like kicks into this kick ass like rock and roll
Yeah.
with solos and little twinkle guitars and
Yeah.
it really builds, and like it kind of confuses me like
Right,
sometimes I'm
right.
like, whoa, I thought this was a
That's-
pop song, whoa,
that-
now it's a kick-ass indie rock song.
That's kind of that's a lot of the intention. It's
Yeah?
just it's to be dynamic, to be I wouldn't say that we're always trying to I definitely wouldn't say that we're trying to make people guess or give people the
Yeah.
unexpected intentionally.
No, yeah.
I think that we're like just like the dynamics and the contrast in a song
yeah.
are something that Joe and I both really like to explore.
Yeah, I can tell because like you guys have a lot of up and downs in your songs.
Right, exactly. Right.
So what influences that? Like, obviously you guys have like conformed that yourselves with what, but what influences like you to like make that kind of music and put that kind of like imagery and
Yeah.
style to it?
That style comes from being a product of Ohio.
Really?
Yeah, but
But
you know,
when you went to California and like pursued and were like motivated to do
different.
stuff at a young age too. Like
Yeah.
you were like a lot of
Right.
people don't get that.
And there was a
until
lot of
their 20s.
isolation.
Yeah,
there was a lot of
I understand
isolation,
that too,
and
man.
yeah, an incredible amount of isolation for a while. I was going to school online, then I graduated early, so I,
Yeah.
and then I was kind of in community college for a little bit. Like there were some things that I did that, really isolated me.
Yeah.
Really isolated me.
And that's I mean, dude, people need that.
Yeah,
You
yeah,
know? They
yeah.
need like that time themselves to really like look in and then funnel out
Right.
what you need to,
Right.
for sure.
Absolutely. Yeah.
So like, yeah, but like, so you,
Mm-hmm.
a lot of isolation, is that, so just you,
I'd say, I think in LA, yeah. I
Yeah.
think that's part of what informed it. But really, dude, I think, my life in general is literally like a melting pot. You know, what's my blood, my genetics, like everything about me.
Yeah.
At least to me is very, very like incredibly eclectic.
Yeah.
And that's like, because I'm very like
it seems very personal to you, like
right. Yeah. I mean, growing up, like life was all about, you know, equal parts. Because I come from this, you know, it was like my parents are very, very athletic, very, very, you know, not artsy. Not artsy, but
which is weird that those two lifestyles don't form to each other more. Because like I tried to keep myself fit, and like I lost 30 pounds.
Really?
Just shadowboxing and doing like push-ups, sit-ups, and changing my diet a little bit.
Wow.
Yeah, I was like 190 at the beginning of 2020, and then I went in 6 months. About 6
That's
7
amazing.
Months. Yeah.
I had no
work into that. I also am into combat sports, so that kind of veers to that.
Really? I didn't know that.
I love watching like UFC fights and MMA.
Oh, wow.
Oh yeah.
Blue.
I'm not like fit. I'm not like ripped or nothing like a fitness person, but I lost weight and I'm in shape and I don't feel like shit.
right. That's important, right?
But
yeah.
What was we saying before that? We were talking about something.
Well, I know that. Well, one thing that I wanted to get back to was actually like talking about Ohio.
Yeah.
In general, like how. Oh yeah. No, here's where we were. Yeah. So basically, I was describing how like, you know, coming from a sports heavy background.
Yeah.
Like that was kind of, and my dad's like very, very, you know, regimented, like incredibly, like very, you know, successful, very classic, like cool American dream lifestyle.
Yeah,
you know?
yeah,
So I grew up with a lot of respect and admiration
like
for that.
hard motivated.
Exactly, like very motivated,
Yeah.
very, you know, and my mom is like she's like super fun and super like
Probably like the mom of the group, like would like
right,
help.
like everyone.
Do you need a ride? We need me to pick you up. Stuff like
everyone has a lot of fun.
Yeah.
But she's a performer. That's the thing that I got was she's like this. She teaches aerobics and Zumba.
Is that?
And so Zumba was the big thing when I was growing up. She's been teaching Zumba for almost 15 years.
Okay.
So she, like
those are the like cardio workouts and gym
dancing.
Yeah. All right, do this now.
Right. Exactly.
Okay.
Yeah. Exactly.
Just making sure I'm on the same pair.
Yeah. So growing up, I think watching her perform really informed me. But she also loved Guns N' Roses.
Yeah.
So that was kind of my first exposure.
Mm-hmm.
But other than that, the music that was around was good, but my parents weren't really musicians.
Yeah.
So it was what got me into music was my friends.
Yeah.
What got me interested into thinking, because like playing guitar, there's no one else that really plays guitar in my family, in my extended family or anything really. You know, so playing guitar was because the neighbors had guitars.
Okay.
And I saw them, and I got exposed to like alternative kinds of music.
Yeah.
Like you know, my favorite band ever now, which is Coheed and Cambria, what I was exposed to by my friend Jonathan when I was like
that kind of makes
8 or 9.
sense. That makes a lot of sense. I mean, they're not nearly, I would say, as diverse as the sound that you go for, but they're in that pocket.
Right. There's a lot of
up and down movement.
Up and down dynamic.
Yeah. And so talking about like what like influences you, we had a conversation a little back on a video shoot actually. That you're like, so the song you just released was Monica.
Yes. Yep.
But you said that you're starting like you're making songs about like not like about girls, but like with the thought of like these envisioned. I can't remember exactly what you said, but you spoke about like naming your songs after girls. What did that what was that conversation? What kind of was that?
Yeah. So really, you know, it's not something that we intended. I grew up with a lot of emo rock bands that had like the long titles. Yeah. Like I remember like the Fall Out Boy, like From Under the Cork Tree, like first name album of the song is like our lawyer made us change the name to this song, and it doesn't have, you know, or like
They can't use that song name anymore.
Right. Exactly. Like, but these like super like there's a huge song, and I don't understand why it's called this, but it's called "I'm Made of Wax, Larry. What Are You Made of?" It's,
do you remember? They remember. Yeah. I know. I play that song on guitar. Yeah.
So many. Yeah, exactly. Right. It's a great song, right?
It is.
But I grew up with those.
Devil Wears Prada features.
Exactly.
I know all about it, brother.
Devil Wears Prada. Goats on a Boat. You know, like HTML rules.
What was his name? Matt.
Veronica. I think it's like Veronica.
Yeah.
I think it's Mike Veronica.
Yeah, Mike. Yeah.
And they're from Dayton, so they're from Ohio. Shout out. Yeah. Mm-hmm. But I remember Devil Wears Prada specifically because they had like 2 albums with all these silly song names. Like although I really liked the title with Roots Above and Branches Below. I thought that was brilliant.
Oh,
that record,
so dope. Like just I didn't like that record more than Plagues.
Oh yeah.
That was my favorite record from them.
Plagues is the first one, right?
Right before.
Is it Pray for Plague? No, that's Bring Me the Horizon.
That's Bring Me the Horizon. Yeah, Plagues was their second studio record.
Okay.
Because the first one was the All Hail whatever. Well, that had Goats on a Boat.
Oh, okay, got it.
Yeah, I can't remember. I know the album cover. It's like a girl, a statue, and like brown, and white, and gray.
Okay, I think I know. Yeah,
I can't remember the name of the album though.
Yeah.
But Plagues was there, and that's
the Plagues has rose. Pink,
rose red, green, and pink. Yeah,
and then their logo in the middle.
That's such a good album. That's one of my favorite albums of all time.
Really, that's awesome,
that's
dude.
One of my favorite albums of all time. That's like what got me into metal music and playing. Like, I could see, dude. There's another good example. Of
metal is a huge influence on Alíco,
dude, because they have and they're never the same parts. You don't do this. Like, you may have you'll repeat the chorus, but it's different. The parts are different.
Right.
I noticed.
Yeah. Very much of an influence on that.
Yeah, that's crazy, dude. So, back what we were saying though, you just kind of decided to start naming these songs.
Right. So basically, I guess I've always thought of like these big song titles or album titles, but for some reason, like I had this, I loved writing these big, loaded songs with a lot of emotion and then giving them one name titles. Like just one word titles.
I like
just,
your style, dude.
Thanks, man. But I kind of like I fell in love with that to start, you know.
Yeah.
Like I don't think I've ever really, because I feel like a song is like a person almost.
Yeah, it 100%. I'm about good songs, man. I don't music. I don't like everything, and I'll tell you. I'll tell you why I don't like it. But I love good songs. Good fucking songs.
Good songs.
Man.
That's the point.
It's only matters that.
You know?
Exactly.
Like, because that's why we're never concerned about genre.
Yeah.
Because Joe and I both grew up listening to records that were mostly like
experimental.
Right. Yes, but also like on the other end, like records that were kind of like the single. Like different colors of that first single that they put out. Okay. And then with like one ballad, like the same punk rock or the same style throughout the whole record. And like, that's great.
Yeah.
But, it didn't really influence me until I heard like Coheed and Cambria or American Idiot, where like the whole record was, or Black Parade. Black Parade's a great one.
Yeah.
Where the whole record is like, okay, here's this type of song. Here's this type of song. Here's a straight up rock song. Here's an almost metal song. Like, I mean, if you take a look at some of those older records, like, like it's funny when a lot of times, like a bunch of records that came out between 2003 and 2006 have a huge influence.
Yeah.
And, like Black Parade, for example. I mean, you start off with this like kind of carnival-esque acoustic thing. You go into this huge rock song. And then from there, like there's...
Punk pop, ballads,
rock ballads,
like Cancer,
stuff.
The song Cancer, dude,
right.
That song fucking hits,
right? Or Disenchanted songs like Mama, which is on that record,
dude.
Like those that really,
what a pinnacle of an album, dude.
And also 21 Pilots Vessel, really.
Yeah, was that the 2000?
That was 2012.
Yeah,
I think it was January of 12.
Their big pop out album,
right? Yeah, right. And that's also
they recorded right up the street
at Sonic, right?
Our Funny Boys.
They recorded Ride. That's so cool.
Yeah, it's super cool. Our boys did record there.
Right. The Funnies boys recorded there. Dude,
yeah,
that's crazy.
It's awesome. It's and dude, and that's what's cool, man. Is like that as well. Like while you're finding these influences and different things, you find influences in your friends too. Like
yes.
So that's what you kind of were talking about.
For sure.
Like your neighbor had the guitar and stuff.
Yes, and exactly.
I got a video I want to get to.
Yeah, absolutely.
I got a video. Dude, so this video, I watched it once. It's very well done, man.
Thank you.
Like,
Thank you. Yeah.
you got some really good dudes to do this for you, man. And like, so the pure fucking stare into the soul of the camera, which is my soul you're staring at now. So it's
This guy.
it's fucking, dude. Like, you definitely like took all of those like things in, like the acting and the modeling. You know, you really did learn.
Thank you.
And it helps a lot with this, dude, because to be able to perform on camera and showcase your music is like the most important thing, dude. Like,
Well, thank you.
Image and shit like that, because obviously the video looks great.
It was very hard to do that.
I bet.
I remember, like, I don't, you know, there's a lot of things I feel like, you know, are easy not to remember. You just do it and then you go. But this, I almost remember every second of like staring into that camera. Like I was, especially this part. This part right here was so hard to, putting my hand up there. I felt so awkward about doing. I was like, oh, I got to move my hands now because I didn't have my guitar. So thank you. Yeah. It's funny though, like that switch, like it was another, I feel like there's so many examples and so many moments where I'm like, just let it go.
Yeah,
you know?
yeah.
And then later it's like, oh yeah, that worked because I let it go.
Yeah.
You know?
Literally, man, it is like kind of like that. Just like letting like those insecurities and this like vision of yourself that you shouldn't do, you know, but in reality, dude, like everything's possible.
It's exactly. Yeah. It's funny. It's the more and more I do this type of thing, the more and more I realize like just finding what feels good is the most important.
Yeah. Well, because I call it catching lightning in a bottle.
Yeah.
That's basically what you're trying to do the entire time until it happens, and then like you know it. If you've been doing it, like you've been doing art and stuff, I've been doing art for a while. Like when you catch it, you normally can see it like after a while. You're like, oh wait, we're doing it. It's the thing. Let's do it the right way. And that's what it's about too, is trying to do those things the right way. Like this feels like the right way to do things. Yeah.
Thank you. Yeah, David Morrison. He's awesome. He actually filmed me in a Cincinnati Bell commercial. That's how we met.
Really?
Yeah. Yeah. And
through the acting.
Yeah, through the acting. Yeah.
Networking, baby. That's awesome.
It was amazing. Yeah. So
very cool, man.
So he really, yeah, he's amazing, and we had some great lighting guys come down and stuff. Like that scene was really cool.
The lighting's very cool. Yeah. Caden did a video kind of similar to this. It was in caves instead of a castle.
In caves?
Yeah. Not nearly as like the extreme like lighting techniques or anything, but you know, close. It like feels similar, like that eerie, ghosty feeling, you know. I love, dude. And like I said, like right in this rock and roll kick ass,
man.
like
Yeah,
big.
this is.
Who influences that the most? Who influences the rock and roll stuff? Is that you or is that Joe?
Well,
I know you guys both.
I think it's both of us now, but I think, you know, when Joe and I first started working together, he was a jazz trained drummer who had been in a blues band for 7 years. So I saw it as my personal mission because he was such a great guy and he was so talented.
You gotta
His skill and finesse. I was like, dude. I literally told him, like, dude, I'm gonna make you a rock drummer. Like I vividly remember that, and you know, it like, and also just to brag on Joe for a minute.
Yeah.
David, who directed this video, was a drummer in the '90s in a band of awesome like cool like alt band called the Ass Ponies.
Okay.
And he was the drummer, right? Or no, they're just called Ass Ponies. It's not. There's no the. It's very important to notate. It's just Ass Ponies.
It's just Ass Ponies.
So he's a very good drummer, and he said he told me after the video was done, he was like, yeah, because actually this song was recorded as a Spencer Anthony song years ago. Yeah. So Joe didn't live in LA at that time. He didn't record on it. We had have you ever heard of the band Motion City Soundtrack?
Yes.
So Tony Thaxton, the drummer from there, recorded the drums on this song.
Okay.
So so that was a really cool moment because I love that band. Yeah.
That's fucking awesome.
Yeah.
That's very fucking cool. He recorded the drums?
Yeah. But you've heard Joe record on the new stuff.
Yeah. Oh, dude. Well, he's been playing basically since he was fucking born.
Yep.
That's what he was saying.
Yep.
Like, I'm like, when did you start playing? I asked him, like, how old are you, man? He's like, oh, I'm 20. Is he 21? 20.
He's 21 now.
Yeah. So he's like 21. I'm like, how long you been playing drums for? He's like, oh, 20 years. I'm like, but you're 21. He's like,
no, and he says it so he says it like, yeah. It's like he's like, yeah, 20 years.
Like literally, I'm like, That means you were like 1.5 playing drums, right? He's like, no, yeah, seriously.
First time he went on tour when he was like 12.
You're shit.
Yeah, I'm not kidding, dude.
He's a prodigy.
He's a prodigy, absolutely.
Seriously, that's crazy.
To the T, yeah.
That's awesome, man.
But that was what I wanted to say, and this was that David turned to me and said, he said Joe hit every single note perfectly. Because they were just doing a playback. Like, if Joe would have messed up, he could have just cut it off. But he's like, dude, I could use every single take because he didn't miss a single hit.
Wow.
He didn't miss a single hit on the drums.
That's fucking awesome,
dude.
That dude's 21 years old.
21.
Smacks drums like that. That's awesome.
Yeah.
Thank you so much, man, for coming out, man.
Absolutely.
This has been a great conversation, man.
This has been awesome,
dude. You can come back anytime you want.
Thank you, man.
Anytime you want.
I would
man.
love to.
Anytime, man, dude. Well, dude, again, thank you so much, man.
Yeah, absolutely.
This has been Talking to Me, Talking to You. Thanks for watching.